does the, you know, if you don't vote for this, you're lame. Like, you know, the same thing as the State of the Union, where Trump was like, stand up if you like America. Like, he does that. And it's, you know, still, it's, you know, it's arrived, I call this Finance Committee meeting to order. Councilors, will you all please join me in standing, saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Councilors, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Until recently, a fine young man who was a Ward 4 resident and also served us as a school committee member, lived in Ward 4. He moved to the Cape only a few years ago to pursue another job. And he has passed away. And so I'm introducing this. He was my constituent. Now, Councilor Lally will speak more about him.
Thank you. Now, councilors, we're asking this evening for a moment of silence for former Ward 4 school committee member Brett Gormley. Brett was a huge part of our education system and the city as a whole for years. The Brockton Track Club, Brockton Public Schools, and serving on the school committee. He was a personal friend, positive, upbeat, a kind thing for everybody. And he rolled up his sleeves and he got to work. He's a leader in every sense of the word, every meaning of the definition. His loss was too soon, and he will be missed. And so I'd ask for a moment right now for silence. Thank you. You will be missed.
Rest in peace.
Mr. Clerk.
Item 1, we have the appointment of Sylvester P. Forts of Hope Street, Brockton, Mass. to the Brockton Advisory Council of Health for a 3-year term, ending in February 2029. Postponed from Finance Committee meeting March 16th, 2026. Invited Sylvester P. Forts.
Mr. Fort's here. Councilors, is there a motion to send this to the end of the meeting? I don't see Mr. Fort's.
So moved.
Motion's been properly made and seconded to move this matter to the end of the meeting. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Item 2, we have the appointment of Maria Fernandez of 21 Bauer Ave, Brockton, Mass. to the Brockton Advisory Council on Health for a 3-year term ending in March 2029. Invited Maria Fernandez.
Is Ms. Fernandez here? Councilors? I have a motion.
Second.
Motion to postpone to the end of the meeting. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
We have the appointment of Stephen Clay of 106 Main Street, Apartment 101, Brockton, Mass. to the Commission on Human Rights. Invited Stephen Clay.
Mr. Clay.
Motion to move favorable to the full city council.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded to move Mr. Clay forward. All in favor? The motion passes. Was that Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Clay is here.
Mr. Clay, thank you for coming.
I thank you, sir.
Yep.
I've been always wanting to help in any way I can. There's 3 dear things get to my heart: the veterans, the elderly, and human rights. I am with BAMSI, and I was on the Human Rights Board from early on when Jack Eunice was around. And for some unknown reason, BAMSI shut it down. And I feel now that the people of Brockton, you need a strong voice for them, and especially the elderly, the handicapped, and the veterans. And with the human rights, I can do that. I can push things, get through. I can fight for what's right and get wrong.
Excellent. Well, we've approved you, Mr. Clay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Item 4, ordered that the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditure of the total grant funds in the amount of $175,688 from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs to Council on Aging. Invited Director Janice Fitzgerald, Dr. Troy Clarkson, or his designee.
Good evening, Madam Director. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, councilors. Did you want to say anything first, or no?
I can. Good evening, counselors. This is the second half of the formula grant that Council on Aging has received for $175,688, and there's no match.
Councilor Castro.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies, for being here. I was reading the paperwork provided to us. It's a 10-year contract. We get so much per year. What does the Council on Aging use these funds for?
Yep, so we use the funds for staffing. Sometimes it offsets funds that I may not have through the city budget, but primarily it's for staffing.
Okay. And if you don't know right now, I understand, but I know that it's based on the number of seniors served or the census data. How many seniors are you serving these days?
So if I didn't know that number, there'd be a problem. So the number's 21,961.
Wow.
And we get $15 per elder. And we'll be funded again FY '27, the same dollar figure.
That's terrific, Janice.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Motion to recommend favorably?
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 5, we have ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $30,000 from Council on Aging Personal Services Non-Overtime to Council on Aging Purchase of Service. Invited Director Janice Fitzgerald, Dr. Troy Clarkson, or his designee.
Good evening again.
Good evening again. So this transfer is to replenish the electricity budget for the Council on Aging. Currently, we are 76.71% through the year, and they have used 65% of their personal services non-OT, so there is more than enough for the transfer to push them through for the remainder of the year.
Councilors?
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second?
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Madam Director.
Thank you.
Item 6, ordered that the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditure of the total grant funds in the amount of $25,000 from the Department of Conservation and Recreation to Parks and Recreation. Invited Superintendent of Parks, Timothy Carpenter, Dr. Troy Clarkson, or his designee.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent.
Good evening, councilors. So this is a state earmark, $25,000. Generally, these earmarks that I bring before you are site-specific. This one is not particularly site-specific. It simply says for improvement to baseball fields in the city. I anticipate a lot of infield mix so that we can bolster the infields for the fields that we have permitted already. Remaining funds, there are some player benches that need to be replaced at a couple of fields. I'd also like to do some overseeding, and if possible, some fertilizing for that overseeding. As we all know, fertilizer is crazy expensive these days, so this earmark would help out significantly towards those goals.
Councilor Castro.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for responding to my email earlier. Can you do those three things with that $25,000? How far will that get you?
So on average, a load of infield mix, triaxle 10-wheeler is just about $1,000 delivered. So I'm anticipating at least somewhere between 8 and 10 of those loads. Seed these days is also exceedingly expensive. And player benches are, I need 4 of them. They're about $1,000 a piece. So between the seed and the infield mix and those player benches, we're going to be close to that 25 mark.
But you're making the most of it. That's swell. Thank you.
Welcome.
Motion to recommend favorably. Back to the full city council.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Item 7, whereas the city encountered issues with
Councilor
internal
Farwell.
financial controls resulting in audits by outside organizations, therefore be it ordered by the city council.
Move that the clerk waive reading as printed on the agenda. Furthermore, Dr. Clarkson is not available this evening, so I will move to postpone this to the next FinCom.
Second.
There's a motion to waive reading and postpone to the next FinCom meeting? Oh. Counselor, you've made a motion to waive reading and postpone this matter to the next finance agenda.
Yes, and I'll get used to the new microphone.
Perfect. As there was a second?
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Counselor.
Item 8, resolve, whereas the city recently conducted its municipal election, and whereas it is important to constantly seek improvements in the election process so as to ensure support from the voters for the integrity and results of any election. Now therefore be it resolved, the 4 election commissioners for the city of Brockton be invited to a meeting of the council to discuss election procedures and to identify improvements which may be initiated for the conduct of future elections. Postponed from the finance meeting of February 2nd, 2026. Invited Frederick M. McDermott, Alan Parker, Stephen Kelly, Chris Lane Bonney, and the executive director of the elections board.
Good evening, Madam Director, Commissioners.
Good evening. You're missing a name.
Good evening, councilors. I just have a statement to make. The integrity of the recent city election was never compromised. The elections are governed by Mass General laws, which I follow. The image cast machines we use on election days are tested before every election and are extremely accurate. The majority of the ballots cast go through that machine. At the end of the night, the warden prints the report from the machine. If there are no hand counts, provisionals, or overseas ballots, then the number on that report is the number that you get. I have worked in the elections office for 25 years, 8 of them as executive director. I have always been proud of the fact that I run a fair, honest, impartial election. I treat everyone with the same respect and courtesy. I show no favoritism. I like everybody. We have a team of wardens, clerks, inspectors, and canvassers all trying to do the best they can to make the polls open and welcoming to all voters while conducting a fair and impartial election. It is a long day, and at the end of 15 or more hours, the workers are tired, and that's when mistakes can happen. The recount showed us that, yes, mistakes were made. The mistakes will be addressed, and implementation of new procedures will be put in place, but they were mistakes made by human error. There was no fraud, nothing illegal, nothing out of malice, and nothing to rig an election. We will move forward, always striving to do better. The cost of the recount was approximately $92,000. That being said, if we adopted a rule like the state has, whereas to request a recount for which recount is desired is more than half of 1% of the total number of votes cast for such office, the petitions for recount shall be void. If such difference in the votes cast appears to be half of 1% or less of the total votes cast for such office, then a recount would ensue. If that were the case, the mayoral race wouldn't have been eligible for a recount, and definitely not the at-large race. Commissioners have discussed paying canvassers more money to not only canvass, but to oversee the closing of the polls, to come in and close the election. And make sure that things are put in proper bags, or hire more people just to come in and close the election. A lot of mistakes found at the recount were things were not in the proper bags. So we have discussed paying poll workers more money to attract more eligible people. I want to add one more thing to that also. Our commissioners have been working very hard. This recount especially was probably very stressful. They have not had, in my entire tenure here, have not had a raise. I think that with the more that they have to do, more than they did 25 years ago, I think that a raise should be considered for them. And I have nothing else to say.
Thank you, Madam Director. Commissioner, do you have anything, or should I go to the counselors?
No, I think at this point in time, that's,
Thank you, Commissioner. Councilors, Councilor Farwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think this evening is a referendum, pardon the pun, on how the election was conducted.
Councilor,
Thank
you need your
Yes.
microphone. There we go.
How it was conducted in November. I do have a couple of observations, and maybe you can clarify. When I went to vote at the Hancock School, I filled out my ballot, I went up to the machine, fed it in, it wouldn't take it. Fed it in, it wouldn't take it. Fed it in, wouldn't take it. And finally, the young lady who was assisting me said, well, I'm going to have to give you another ballot. We'll see if that works. And I filled out the ballot, and that one went through. Now, when the attempt was made to put a ballot in 3 times, would that affect the number of times that someone voted, the vote count on the machine?
No, the machine only counts the ballot if it drops through. If it spits back out, then it's a non-counted ballot. If it gets jammed in there, that little window will tell you whether it's a counted ballot or a not counted ballot. So the warden would know to feed it into the machine or pull it out and let him feed it through again.
Okay.
But by you putting it in and it spitting it back out, it's not changing the number on that register.
All right. When we have an election during the day and you get complaints, do we maintain a log of the complainant's name and address, telephone number, contact information, nature of complaint, and then who was assigned to resolve that complaint and what the resolution is? For example, I'm a candidate, my name's on the ballot. In my opinion, and I don't know if there is a state law prohibiting me, but I shouldn't be where the ballots are. I should go in and vote, have my ballot recorded, and then leave. But as you know, there were complaints and pictures taken of candidates that were actually inside where people were voting and allegedly assisting people. But let's just say the stories in some instances didn't jive. So do we maintain a log of complaints? Who calls in, who is assigned to resolve that, and what the resolution is?
So, no, we do not make a log of it. If we get a call for a complaint, I immediately go out and handle it. Usually it's for signs being put up against trees. There is nothing in the state law that says that a candidate cannot be in a polling location. As long as you're not electioneering or trying to get voters to vote for me, there's nothing saying that you can't be in there helping family members. So upon my arrival to that specific polling location, I didn't know who the candidate was. Someone had pointed him out to me. He was with a gentleman who didn't speak English. He said he was related to him, and he was just helping him fill out the ballot. He told me that he never touched any ballot. He never marked any ballot. It got a little heated there. I spoke to both parties, and I thought it was resolved because I didn't see anything illegal or that he did anything wrong. Pictures didn't show me that he was touching or marking ballots.
All right, so I guess my question would be to the commissioners. Should there be a policy that if you receive complaints about an election, because elections are now becoming we're becoming very focused on the election season upcoming in November, albeit we don't have a city election, but we'll have a state election. Should there be a policy that a log is made of a complaint from an individual, the person's name and address, contact information, the nature of the complaint, who is assigned to resolve it, and what the resolution is in case there is future litigation, as opposed to just responding to a complaint and nothing is written down? And I'll whichever one of you wants to answer that, have at it.
Can you step up?
We need the microphone.
So, I'm Fred McDermott. Yes, I think that would be wise. They'd have to give their name and address. The Secretary of State's office is always asking for voters. They have to have a name and address if there's a complaint. So we really don't get too many complaints. If you ask somebody your name and address, what's your complaint, most of the time, they're not going to give it. There is, regarding your question, there's also a law that allows the voter to have a person come in with them to help them. It doesn't specify who that person is. Could it be the candidate? I know the candidate's not supposed to come within, 150 feet, but it doesn't specify, so it's certainly gray. I asked a couple attorneys during the recount about the same thing. So if you get someone coming up to instead of pejoratively, where you get a candidate buttonholding a voter and say, come with me, fill out this ballot, I'm candidate Jones, vote for me. If you get sort of the opposite with the voter coming up to the candidate and saying, this is my first time voting, I don't know how the process works, and my first language may not be English, come with me and make sure I vote your name on the ballot. By the way, that could also happen with mail-in votes. You could go over the candidate's house and same thing would happen. As long as the voter's intent is to vote for a certain candidate and the voter's intent isn't compromised, it's kind of difficult.
All right, so the answer is yes, it would be helpful to have a policy to record a complaint, and if it's a person anonymous, so be it.
Yes.
Applying some degree of common sense. If you're a candidate and your name is on the ballot,
Yes.
and you're helping someone vote,
Yeah.
I would suspect you're not telling them to vote for someone else. You're probably campaigning for yourself. So should there be a policy that in the rare instance, because I don't believe I've seen this happen in all of the elections that I've been involved in, I haven't seen candidates in the little voting area helping someone vote.
Sure.
Would it be prudent to have a policy that a candidate whose name is on the ballot should announce to the warden or the person who is in charge at the time this is happening, I'm Councilor Farwell, I'm a candidate for re-election, this is my grandfather, he's asked me to help him vote, and I just wanted to make this known. Because otherwise, it gives the impression to the public that something isn't quite right. And honestly, Fred, we're at the point in this country where people just are being convinced of things that you and I know aren't true, but unfortunately, a lot of people believe them.
I would agree with that 100%, and if I were running, I've already learned my lesson, I'm not running, but if I were running, certainly I wouldn't take anybody in, but how far does that go? Now, instead of a grandfather, what if there's just a guy who says, I like you, you're my friend, come in with me and help me vote? Of course, the optics are always going to look bad if there's a candidate that goes in with someone. But again, what's the voter's intent?
But don't we have someone there to help?
Is the voter's intent before they even go there to vote for a candidate Jones, who's his friend, and he wants him to help him? You're going to, could be gray, could be a great area for an attorney to file a suit. Where does it say that it can't be a candidate, as opposed to can a candidate go within the 150 feet or whatever?
Do we have people there, though, to assist voters if it isn't a relative? If it isn't a candidate who's a relative or next to a neighbor?
I'm sure there are people there that are going to do that. But the voter also gets his choice of who comes in with him. The voter can have someone come in with him.
They, with some
It
limitation.
doesn't say why or who.
Yeah, with some limitation, I would hope. For example, you wouldn't let a candidate go in there if they're wearing a T-shirt, vote McDermott or vote Farwell, and we're on the ballot. So, it's...
Let anybody.
No. All right, well, not to take up a lot of time, but I understand that you actually had legal counsel look into some of the issues that came up in 2025, and I was led to believe that there would be a document forthcoming. So if there is a document forthcoming, I think all of us would like to know, is there anything we can do from an ordinance standpoint to support the election commissioners? And with that, Mr. President, I'll let others weigh in. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Castro.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm wondering what kind of training do the election commissioners receive?
A manual.
There is a manual that goes out to the group, and there isn't a day training when they come in.
They're talking about the commissions.
Oh, the commissions, oh.
Yes. That the three of you,
Yep, there's a manual that we have.
I'm sorry, there's a what?
There's a manual.
So you read a book?
Elections manual
Okay.
that comes up in the Secretary of State's office.
Okay. I think I've probably seen it. All right. And I know that you don't have investigative agents or people, but I am aware of one election in November where one of the people running did not live in the ward the person ran from. The residents knew, a fair number of constituents knew. And I'm just wondering, when that's brought to your attention, what is your duty and what do you do? Do you ascertain whether that is so? Or, you know, do you have a duty to look into that? Or, and if not, who has the duty to look into that? Because we're all so concerned about fraud and misrepresentation in elections at all levels of government these days.
I'll answer. There's a
Commissioner, you need to be by a microphone.
There was a home rule petition that was filed by this council a few years ago that's now now at the committee for third reading up at the legislature, up at the State House, in the House. And it's now, basically what it does is establish the one-year residency requirement for all candidates for mayor, school committee, and city council. It also has a stipulation in it that if a councilor, school committee, or mayor moves out of their area, they need to resign and the position be called vacant.
Okay, once they're elected or if they're elected.
So once you're elected, but so basically what we have to do, when this is done, it's effective once it's passed. And that was status was March 16th. So once that's in effect, we have some authority to keep people off the ballot that might not be in the ward.
Okay, I understand. I think the facts that happened in November are a little different than that.
I don't recall any instance where that occurred.
Okay.
Okay, I will speak upon this. So, of course, with everything, it takes time. So by the time by the time we found out that, or it was told to me that a certain person did not live in that ward anymore, it was too close to an election for anything to be really done. A few years, many years back before Lawton, we had Kimberly Bobolas. When she came in, and she was saying she lives with her husband in Whitman, but then she was telling me that she lives in Brockton. Myself called the landlord and asked the landlord if she actually did live there. The landlord said that no, she didn't live there. He doesn't even know who she is. I called the Whitman police and asked them to go over to her house in Whitman, and her husband answered the door and said that she did live with him, in fact, and their children. So we did, went before the commission, it wasn't this commission, but we went before commission and took her off the registered voter rolls for Brockton, so she could not run for mayor, which is what she was trying to do. But as far as this last election, it was not known to me too quickly.
So
Thank you.
specifically, I called the Secretary of State's office with that problem. And again, they're not quick to move. They specifically said, first, there has to be a voter, a registered voter within that ward or precinct making a complaint so that they can investigate. I guess once we have their name and they make some kind of formal charge or at least recognize themselves, then we should either see what we could do to investigate or contact the Secretary of State, because we're really not an enforcement agency.
Right.
But we can notify the
Investigatory,
authorities.
yeah.
That bill is Senate Bill 2957.
Okay,
That's now in the committee for third readings.
okay. I'd like to suggest to you that maybe you need to think about, before our local elections next year, how you will handle that in the future, because I don't see this situation not happening again. I see it happening again, unless we have process or, a way of discerning. And it's a shame, but it is happening in Brockton.
I think that there could be on the form that candidates file under the penalty of perjury that you reside in this area, and if you move before Election Day, you notify the Elections Department and have your name removed. I think that would conform with the state regulations and would take care of any problem like that. And I think that the one-year residency requirement and a person not being, a resident of that ward makes them ineligible if they move out of it.
If it's written in that way. Because
Well,
it sounds
again-
like they have to live there 1 year before they file papers. This is talking about moving before they file papers.
Moving before the election, after they've filed papers. But if, so you write it into the, there's a form that candidates submit when they run for that office.
Yes.
So basically, it's also put in there with the residency requirement. I'm not sure if it would require further amendment from you folks to adjust the home rule petition that's going through the legislature.
I think at this point, we're obliged to stay with what's already been filed.
Okay, so but is this for a city form? Can you add something like that line stating that if you move out of your area?
That would already be in this,
Right.
if they pass that.
Right.
So that would, I think this would resolve that problem.
Chairman's gotta get up here.
Thank you. I appreciate you all speaking to this.
You all set?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Charnel.
Chairman says it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Just in regards to the $92,000, is there a breakdown on, just so we know what the majority of the money went to? I'm assuming it went to staff and people working and, transportation of the ballots back and forth. And just another, did the duration of the counting make the cost balloon to what it was? If it was, what would be the cost if it was done in a day, 2 days? We went 3 days, I believe.
Yeah, it was 3 weekends.
3 weekends, so.
Yeah, and
so
it
that's-
was also the attorney fees because we had independent counsel, so that's probably where the majority of the.
Yeah, so is there a way that you can, again, I don't need it now, but just a breakdown of just the cost so we can just explain to the public? And I know you mentioned the council at large race was recounted, and the margin between, myself and a candidate was vastly large. So was that race, recounting that race, was that a big undertaking by the Elections Commission?
That was a very big undertaking.
Yeah,
Can you explain?
It added to the confusion of the election because you had so many people in a particular ward where the election was happening. So you had, I think at one point in time, every individual had 2 representatives that were watching the counters. So, and what were there, 4 representatives for one ward? And so that's, it's a lot of people at a table watching that, and then that adds to the confusion and the time for everything to happen.
I'm sorry.
You can say.
The councilor at large race and the mayor's race were citywide. So if you're doing reasonable recounts, or you're doing within 0.5 of 1%, like the state standard, we wouldn't have had those recounts. So of course, a citywide recount takes up more time than a ward recount. If you get rid of the 2 citywide recounts for the councilor at large and the mayor, we would have had 4 left, 2 in 1 ward, 3 wards. Probably would have been able to do that in a day. But if you got citywide now, it changes the whole thing. If you got citywide, it changes the whole thing. It takes more time.
Thank you.
So again, I think if you could lobby the state reps or state senators to allow the same standard as the state had on recounts. Nobody should deserve a recount at 1,500 votes. These machines are good. These machines are within, 10, 5, 10, 15. They're very good. They're not out by 100. So anybody who's asking for a recount in the city at 100 is just wasting the city's money.
So in your opinion, it's a waste of...
If you apply the 1/2 of 1% to the city, there are over 13,000 votes cast. So I believe the number was someplace under 70. So that's only 70 for for citywide. Both of those requests for recounts were certainly greater than 70. So those would have been out if you wanted to apply the state standard of 1/2 of 1%. All the other recounts, the other 4 recounts would have been within that margin.
So in your opinion, that was essentially kind of, because we don't have those rules, it was kind of a waste. It could be defined as a waste of money.
Huge waste of money.
Yes, gotcha. Okay.
It's a huge waste of money. If
Thank you, Councilor.
Mr. Derencourt asked for 2 recounts. One before when he ran for councilor at large at 143 votes. I believe the change was only maybe 3 votes. I believe this time at 250, the change was only, I believe, 10 votes. So that's a citywide election both times. So that takes a lot of time and a lot of money, of course.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Counselor. Is there a motion?
Motion to recommend favorable.
Oh, is there there's no second yet, so it's prior to being on the motion. You had a question, Counselor Green?
I do.
Counselor Green.
Commissioners and Executive Director, thank you for appearing before us today, and thank you for bringing back some feedback from the previous election. I do have a couple questions, but first, let me just just express gratitude. I think it's correct to say that this recount was the largest in the history of the city. Am I correct in saying that? Okay, all right. Yes?
In the state.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for your work. It was a significant amount of hours, so thank you for all your work and for all your efforts. And for all the other poll workers, I think we have to start at a place of gratitude. Hours were put in, people worked, time away from their families, and so thank you. We do not have a perfect system. We're humans, and there are mistakes, and there are opportunities to make improvements going forward. So again, thank you for all your work and all your efforts. In your opening statement, you mentioned that there were mistakes, and my understanding is that you've identified opportunities where improvements could be made. Right?
Yes.
Could you be more specific with us and share some of those areas that you've identified from this previous election in terms of areas and opportunities for improvements?
Yeah, in particular, we found that the day is very long for the people who are there doing it, and the majority of the people who are volunteers generally are older, and it brings up some challenges. By the end of the day, lots of mistakes are being made. I wouldn't say lots of mistakes, but mistakes are made. And so what we've done is we're putting together sort of a closing team. So I can't remember what is the canvas? The canvases are who are already going in there to do about an hour of work or so. They're just going to be, what we're doing is paying them a little bit more, and they will be helping in closing. So the less mistakes will be happening. Everything we put back where it's supposed to be putted, and basically making it so that the system that has been put in place will be followed in a more efficient way.
Their eyes would be less tired. They haven't been there all day, so they would be more alert and hopefully close better. You know, ballots, they were in the wrong bags. They were still in sealed bags, but they were in the wrong bags. So when you pull out the bag that's supposed to have ballots in it and you open it up and it doesn't have ballots in it, now people are thinking that, where are the ballots? But they were just in a different bag, sealed still kept in a secure location. But things like that, just things in wrong bags. Checking the machine and double checking the ballot box to make sure there's nothing left inside the ballot box, things like that.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
No, I think that was the majority of what we saw as the major issues and what we're looking to fix going forward.
Okay, all right. I think,
Yeah, this is one of the recommendations was made. I'm sorry. This was one of the recommendations that were made by our attorneys, you know, that we look at having a closing team, and this is one of the decisions that we made, the commissioners made at our last meeting. It was unanimous that we follow through on this and look at it. Yeah, because I think that overall, this election had some issues, and most of us, people were tired. There was no widespread election fraud. You know, it's fairly evident that we follow the law in Brockton. Anything that was done regarding mail-in ballots, we follow the law. So, and I think that we had a long day, and it was really rough going through all the recounts. It was a lot of time, but I think that we can make improvements. We've discussed it, and we're working with Cindy to make this a better election in the future. One of the things that came up was signs being placed within 150 feet. We were talking about having the police officers, there's 2 police officers in each ward, have them go around and check to make sure there's no signs on city property. And also look at having a training package sent to candidates that are running for local office, that they go through and understand what the laws are, so we can make an improvement on following things through. If we all work together, elections going to go very smoothly. I've been involved in elections in the city for about 40 years, and I've never seen anything like that with candidates not following the law.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So just, so on that same note of following the other law, currently, we do not have a law, we do not have a requirement in place for what that percentage or threshold should be in order for a candidate to request a recount. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Director, do you want to come back up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is correct. There is not, it's a state law. We would like to, potentially what we would like to do is implement the law that the state already has in place, but it is not a law that's in place here in Brockton.
Okay.
Or really, I don't think, Fred, if I'm correct, it's not in place anywhere, right?
Except for the state. Except for the state, right?
Right, there's no, that law only applies if you run statewide. There is no law on recounts, the percentage, the amount of votes. There is no law for municipalities, towns, or cities. So
Okay.
anybody can ask for a recount even if you lose by 1,500 votes.
Okay, all right. So let's just be clear, for all of those who requested a recount in this election, followed the other law.
Yes.
The law provided for them to request a recount, regardless of what that number is or that gap is.
Correct.
And so what I'm hearing from you is a recommendation that we have a law in place that stipulates to some degree or put some requirement in place for a specific percentage that would trigger a recount similar to what the other state has in place. And by doing so, it could potentially save us thousands of dollars in such a case. Okay, great. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Could you want to go back to something that Councilor Farrell asked in regards to training? And so this was training for the commissioners, and you indicated that there is a manual that you're provided, and you read or you review that manual. Let me kind of expand on that a little more. Could you share with us what the current state is in terms of training for the other commissioners and also for the other poll workers, the wardens, and all those who are involved through your office in any election? What is the current state, and what do you propose as an improvement for a future state that would help us to address some of the issues that you've identified in this last election?
Aside from the commissioners who get a manual to follow, the poll workers, the wardens, the clerks, the inspectors, and the canvassers all get trained, retrained every election. Before every election, we hold a training. It's probably only about an hour long, and it's pretty much me standing up, explaining everything that can happen from the beginning to end of polls and what they're supposed to do. They have a booklet with little tabs that explains everything that would happen or that you're supposed to do. There's 3 pieces of paper stapled together that tells you what goes in what bag. In the training, I take it apart and say, put it on top of the bag. This next training that I'm going to have, we're going to, rather than me standing up talking, we're going to hold a mock election, so to speak. And just everything that can happen during the course of a day, they can see, like I would be an irate voter. But just go through it that way. Have them get up and participate, and maybe by them doing it, they'll remember to do it on election day, but we hold every year trainings.
And would this be a mandatory required training, or is it optional?
It is mandatory. If you don't come to a training, you do not work. Sorry, it's probably mine.
Okay.
So sorry.
That's okay. All right. Thank you, and I think that would be a great idea to conduct that training and to do the mock election as a part of the training module as well.
And one more thing.
Yes.
When we do the election training, I will certainly throw out an invite to all of you. So if you're interested in seeing how it is done, you're more than welcome. And also, the public, if they want to come out and help out and work for the day and see what the other poll workers go through, I welcome them to come in. We'll take everybody.
Thank you. That's most appreciative. I would assume you've had a chance, and your office have had a chance to go back and kind of reflect and look at several things that have transpired throughout the election process, including the other recount as well. I want to ask you about a few specific of things, and if you can help me to understand from your perspective what happened, what do you attribute as the genesis of what I'm going to share with you, and what do you anticipate as a potential solution for that? Okay, so as an example, some ballots were found in a couple of the bins at one of the other schools. That's
West Junior High.
West Junior High.
There were 2 ballots found. One was in the machine.
Yep.
So therefore, it went through the machine and it was read. And the other one was in the hand count. Therefore, it wasn't read, was not counted.
Okay.
The ballot was laying straight up like that with the white back in a compartment that is also white.
Yep.
And it was straight up leaning against it. So the warden clerk, whoever was responsible for taking the ballots out, missed that one.
Okay. So would you attribute that to a training issue?
I attribute that to the compartment where the hand count ballot goes is a very thin compartment, a little tough to get your hand in, reach down and grab. I think because it was literally straight up right against the wall, when they went down and grabbed in it, they couldn't feel it. They couldn't get anything else out of it. But that's my only, I don't think it had to do with training. Of course, when I go over training come in the future, we will discuss, the fact that ballots can stick up there. You really have to, we'll probably supply them with a flashlight so that they can really get down in there and look.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you. Last question for you. Well, 2 questions, actually. Have you given any thought to what the elections office could do in terms of reporting out the other results on the night of the election? So if memory serves me right, we had some issues with BCA reporting things and so on. Is there anything that the elections office could do directly to get results out to the public in a short period of time? Well, shorter, I would say, shorter.
Oh, I don't know that, because I can't put it on the website myself. I would have to contact IT, give them the results, and they would put it on. And as you know, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, they're not there. At every polling location, the slip is there. At City Hall, all of the slips are posted right there, so anybody who wanted to know could see them. They could call the office, because we've got people there that could give them what unofficial results are. But we don't print out our actual results until we have all those memory cards back. So once we get all 28 cards back, then we'll print the results. So if you've got a ward councilor, let's just say, only has 4 precincts, that he can have someone at all 4 precincts, and he would know who the winner was before we would know.
Okay. Are you able to post the other results on any social media platform?
I suppose we could put it on maybe Facebook. City of Brockton has a Facebook page. We could probably post it on that.
Okay. All right.
Or I could have someone from IT maybe work overtime or from home or something I could get it to them and they could post it. Maybe we could work something like that out.
Okay, all righty. If that's feasible, I would ask that your office consider doing that and
Yes, I'll
making
reach
that
out.
information readily available to the other public. All right. Councilor Farrell asked earlier about a report or a document from your office relative to this election and
I don't
the
think it was a
recount?
document from my office. I think it was a document from the lawyers.
The independent,
The
the independent counsel.
councils.
Okay.
Saying what they saw as problems and how we could move forward to correct them. But I don't think we've received that report yet.
Okay, and is that something
And
that?
as soon as we do, I will share.
So we should expect a copy of that, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. Final question, and thank you for answering all my questions and for your time today. Thank you again. What can we expect in terms of a timeline to implement some of these changes and improvements that you've identified?
Immediately. We'll be implementing immediately.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselors, do we have a motion? Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
Oh, I need a motion. I just said it.
Second.
Properly made and seconded. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Commissioners, thank you, Madam Director.
Item 9, resolved, be it resolved by the Brockton City Council to invite James O'Brien, City Solicitor, to appear before the Finance Committee for an introduction and greeting before the council as a newly appointed City Solicitor. Invited, City Solicitor James O'Brien.
Good evening, Mr. Solicitor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for this invitation and the warm welcome from, I've met most of you. I am truly honored to be sitting here as the City of Brockton City Solicitor, and I'd like to thank Mayor Rodriguez, he's not here, but for giving me the opportunity to serve this city. The past 3 months have been challenging but enjoyable, and I look forward to collaborating with the mayor, all the departments, and the council as we move forward. A little bit about myself. I've been practicing for about 20 plus years in private practice, but the last 12 or 13 in private practice, but also working as town council for the town of Rainham. So I'm very familiar with the day-to-day, legal issues that might, befall a city or a town. And again, I just look forward to working collaboratively with everyone moving the city forward. And I welcome any questions you guys might have.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Counselors, Counselor Farwell.
Mr. Solicitor, you've walked into a vastly different community than Rainham, obviously. Not so much a question, just an observation. Keep us up to date on outstanding cases that might have financial liability to the city. That's the one thing I do think we worry about. If it has to be an executive session, that's fine. But as you probably know, we have had some cases in the past that carried with them some pretty significant payments to plaintiffs. And the other thing is keep us up to speed on your staffing, because there's one thing about your office. You have all of these different legal issues that come in. You'll use outside counsel, obviously, for some, but your staff really has to be very nimble in handling them, and I'm sure you're aware of that. And the volume will be much different than Rainham, I'm sure. So just keep in communication with us. Let us know what's pending, what we might need to know before it perhaps becomes public and the case is handed down. And
of course.
We look forward to working with you.
I do as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, Mr. Solicitor, and welcome to the team. So Councilor Farwell just brought up about staffing, and probably about 2 years ago, we kind of took a different approach on the organization of the law department. Prior, we had a smaller department where more stuff went to outside counsel. Then a decision was made to kind of increase the staff of the law department, have the law department staff handle a lot more of the workload or the caseload, and do less outside counsel. It kind of, in practice, it seemed we had more attorneys in the office, but we didn't really see that major dip in outside counsel spending. And so I'm just wondering, what's your outlook on the organization of your department? Do you see you expanding out your department and taking, carrying a higher workload in-house? Or are you maybe considering keeping your department smaller and farming stuff out to outside counsel?
Well, I think looking at, when I got in there, looking at some of the expenses, it was a lot of attorneys, and then we were still sending a lot to outside counsel. So I think we're going to try to balance it right now and maybe bring someone else on board. But I think we are still going to rely on outside counsel for certain matters, mostly, litigation that might, have a trial that might last a week or more. It's just more realistic to have somebody who can focus on a piece of litigation because with what we handle, it's the variety is what we have to deal with. So, contracts and, getting phone calls and have to be able to react and help somebody out. So what I saw was we had, a full staff, but there was still a high reliance on outside counsel. So I think now the staffing will be a little lower, and we'll see how we can, weather the storm economically and put some of that money towards outside counsel moving forward.
Okay. My understanding is you currently have yourself and 2 full-time employees in your department.
At the moment, yes.
Okay. But you're staffed out to 4 additional full-time attorneys? Is it?
I don't understand.
No, meaning that your capacity right now, that would...
Yeah, probably. I think realistically speaking, yeah, probably 4 or so. In-house attorneys.
Including yourself?
Yes.
Because right now, I believe your department, I believe it's staffed, at least it has funding for, I believe, 4 or 5 additional attorneys outside of you.
Yes. Probably 4 others, yes.
4 additional full-timers.
Right.
And then you. So 5 attorneys altogether. You're looking to reduce that by 1 attorney, 1 full-time attorney.
Full-time attorney.
And then maybe shift some of the burden over to outside counsel.
Yeah, because we have the budget for it.
Okay.
At the moment, yeah.
All right. What about, we are currently in budget season. How's that going? Do you believe that you have the runway right now to develop a budget for this upcoming
Yeah, we have to
fiscal
meet
year?
with Dr. Clarkson, but myself and Michelle Yaffe in our office are going over the figures. But as it is right now with the departure of some attorneys, we have that salary in our budget. So moving forward, we are in good shape.
Would you expect at budget time to request the basically termination or deletion of one of those full-time attorney positions? Like remove it from your budget as a in-house attorney, not the money itself, but the role, the position itself. Do you potentially see a reduction in the number of full-time attorneys in your department?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we would recoup that.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Mr. Solicitor. I'm sure, you've jumped into the deep end. I'm hearing good feedback on your ability to do the job, your leadership in that office, and we all look forward to working with you over the next few years. Our legal department is one of the most important departments in our city. We need it to be, competent, efficient, and I know you're up for the job. So thank you and welcome to the team again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Charnell.
Just going to be very brief because this is the first resolve that I filed, and I think it went pretty well. No, but just like I'm new, I just want to say to the solicitor, welcome, and been very responsive to emails, getting back to me. I've unfortunately haven't been able to respond back to the solicitor, but welcome, look forward. And just one other thing is I'm a former License Commission on the chairman. we do, the commission definitely needs support from the law department. And I just ask that, you use your resources to help support the License Commission. Just selfish plug. But that's it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got a motion on your first resolve, Counselor?
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. You're 1 for 1, Counselor. Congratulations. Mr. Clerk, we moved items 1 and 2 to the end of the meeting.
We have the appointment of Sylvester P. Ford to Hope Street, Brockton, Mass. The Brockton Advisory Council of Health for a 3-year term ending in February 2029, postponed from Finance Committee meeting of March 16, 2026. Mr. Chairman. Mine was off. We had postponement of the appointment of Sylvester P. Ford of Hope Street, Brockton, to the Brockton Advisory Council of Health for a 3-year term, postponed from the Finance Committee meeting of March 16th, 2026. And councilors, just to let you know, we have emailed and post office mailed to both of these people, have not heard back from either that they weren't going to be here, and the emails did not bounce back that they were not valid email addresses, so that's all I can tell you.
And make a motion to postpone to the next Finance Committee meeting?
I'm going
Second.
to postpone the one that we've already postponed.
I thought we postponed it to the end of the meeting.
The item number 1 was postponed from the meeting on March 16th as well. So the gentleman was not here on March 16th either.
Mr. Chairman, if people have been notified, and not once but twice, and they don't have the interest to come in, it doesn't give me a good feeling about their commitment to the position, so.
Well, all I can say, Counselor, is that the emails did not bounce back at us. What my plan would be tomorrow is to try and get a phone number and call these people and see if we can find out.
All right.
I can't guarantee they've received those emails, and the post office, I'd never guarantee they received that, so.
Hope springs eternal, we can try it once more.
Counselor, you had a motion?
So, yeah, I'll reiterate my motion to postpone to the next Finance Committee meeting.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes. Mr. Clerk, item number 2.
We have the appointment of Maria Fernandez of 21 Bauer Ave to the Brockton Advisory Council on Health for a 3-year term ending in March 2029. Invited Maria Fernandez. And again, the same situation.
Counselor?
Motion to postpone this matter to the next Finance Committee meeting.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion passes. Councilors, that is the end of our agenda. Are there any moments of personal privilege? Seeing none, I declare this meeting adjourned.